Alright guys, we're back, and in the last video we talked about how to get all this information from our WordPress source with GraphQL, and that's fine, but now we need to actually add it into our website. So what we're going to do is that we actually, before we get into the Gatsby node, which is going to be the one that is going to create the templates so that we can open up these items into their own page, let's just actually finish up the actual publication here and put put an image up and an item up for every one of the posts that we have. So for that, we're gonna go into our index page, because that's where we're basically working on displaying this stuff, right? So we're gonna come over here to our index page, and we have a spot. Let me just go ahead and close some of this stuff here that we're not going to be using. So this section here can just be closed. Like I said, I like to close stuff that I'm not working with out of the way, and that way I can scroll up and down without being interrupted. Alright, so this is where we are right now. We are in this, why is this here? Close that. Okay, so we are in this part right here, and this is showing me basically to here, between here and here. So make sure, close these and close that. Card, great. Okay, so this is my item. It's one item. This is my project here. So I'm gonna call it project card. Project card and project card. So I'm gonna do this just so I know where I'm at, and I know what I need to replicate or duplicate, actually, rather, and what I don't need to, basically, because I don't want the grid container. I don't want to duplicate the grid container a bunch of times. That's not what I'm duplicating. I'm duplicating or multiplicating the grid item right here. I want several items of this, okay? Several items, not several containers. So I want to kind of like make sure that my mapping, my duplicator, right, the way that I'm going to duplicate all these actions is going to be in here. It's going to be this guy right here, not all of this right here. So I separate myself by doing this. I'll kind of, cleanliness is next to godliness when it comes to this stuff. All right, so now we're going to need to start mapping our data into it. So what we're going to do is we're going to step outside of the return here, and we're going to create our data connection. So we're going to open up with a variable, a constant variable, and we're going to call this WordPress data. Let's call it just that for now. And then for the WordPress data connection or the mapping, we're going to use our use static query. Okay, and this should just already be kind of familiar, because we did this in hang on, I'm trying to type and talk at the same time. So yeah, so we did this already, and when we tried to map through our site metadata before. So this is something that you probably already remember. And then we're gonna use our query and stop. Okay, so this is how you basically generate your layout for any query you want. Now we're gonna come over here, and remember we did this right here, right? So anything from in here, your entire WordPress post, all WordPress post query, you're gonna copy that, and you're just gonna transfer that in here just like that. Okay. Now in this particular page, we're not gonna use the content. We're only gonna use the excerpt, but we are going to use the slug eventually, and we're gonna use the title, and we're gonna use the source, feature media source, and we're gonna use the excerpt. So we need this. Okay, so now that we have that set up, and this is fine the way it is, you got to remember this address now. It's going to be from, excluding this, it's going to go from here to here to here, and then eventually down. So now in order to connect it to these guys here, excuse me. So in order to connect it to these guys here, we're going to, where am I? I went too far down. Oh, look at that. Why did it do that? No wonder I lost myself. All right, so we're in the projects card. It opened it up, and I had it specifically closed for that. Anyway, so we're gonna be in our inside our container here, and we're gonna need to map this into our array, into the data that we're fetching. We're gonna map all of these nodes so we can create a version of our nodes, basically duplicate our node a bunch of times, right? So we're gonna okay. I swear this IDE is having a mind of its own. Okay. All right, so we're gonna come over here, and the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna open up this tags right here, and then in there we're gonna put WordPress data, right? The element that we're going to map from, and then all WordPress posts, I think it is. So this right here is this guy here, WordPress data, and then all WordPress post right there. Okay, all WordPress post, and then we're going to map. We're going to use a map function. This is an array function, and then in there, I'm going to open that up. We're going to create an item, or we're going to make then this could be anything you want. This could be Lewis. This could be anything you want, but we're gonna call it node, just because we want to be kind of semantic about this stuff. So we're gonna create a node, and then for an arrow, and then we're gonna open up an object here. So basically, what we're doing here, okay. And I'll show you in a minute. Actually, let's go ahead and return something. So return, and there you go. So what we're doing here is basically we're saying, hey, go to your WordPress data, all WordPress posts, and map everything that you see from that point forward, from here on, which is basically the nodes. Map all of this, and for every node that you find, give me something back. Okay, what is he going to give me back is basically going to be this guy here. It's going to be this guy here. So for everything that you find in that node, let me go ahead and get this a little bit cleaner. So for every node that you find in there, send me back a card. Send me back a card with this sizing and all of it that I put inside. Okay, now what information should it be in this side? That's what we're going to figure out in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the image to begin with, right? So we're going to start off by declaring it with the node. So the image that we're going to get, it's not going to be in that anymore. Now it's going to be like this, and it's going to be node. I'm basically calling this node right here, and then in this node I want you to give me the feature, what's it called, featured media. Just copy that, featured media, and then the featured media, the source URL. So dot source URL. Let me make this a little wider so you can see the whole thing. All right, so I want you to go in there and build a node, and then in that node put the feature media dot source URL. So this right here will duplicate, and for every node that it finds, it will give me that many cards, that many of these items right here, and in each of them it will put that feature media and source URL that it will find for that particular node that it found, if that makes sense. So now another thing we need to do is we need to add the card title here. So we're going to do the exact same here. we're gonna pull for that node. We're going to bring the title. So come down here. So for that node, give me the title. Then what else we got here? So this is some content, which I believe, if I recall correctly, is what? Typography, body 2, text secondary. I think this was the excerpt. There's two different kinds of text here. Let me see, what was I doing myself? I myself have, weird, okay. So it looks, card title, okay. All right, it looks like it's basically the same thing, title and, you know, all of that again. So I can see here, card title, and then, so it's going to be the content here, the node title, I'm sorry. So we're going to bring the node title again, excuse me. And then here is going to be the excerpt. Just to make sure, this is important that you don't miss, you have any typos in here. So I'd rather just copy and paste it there and make sure. Okay, yep, that's good. And then the button is still going to say explore, but what's going to change there is going to be this right here. It's going to send you to a slug. Now we're not going to do the slug yet, because in order for that to work, we have to wire it up to the Gatsby node. So we just want this to work kind of like this, just so it could give us, just to make sure that we are mapping this correctly. So if I hit save now, it's going to go through the building process, and then it's going to refresh here, and it should give me a node for everything. Okay. Or WordPress post is not a map function. Let me refresh that and make sure there's not a okay. What's going on? What's going on? Alright, so what did I do wrong here? Oh, WordPress post. WordPress posted. Okay, you know what? I think I was supposed to pick edges. My edges. Let me try that. So all WordPress posts, edges. Oh, okay, yes. Okay, I'm sorry. I needed to bring not the actual node inside, but I need to bring the edges first. So what the edges does is it allows you to find navigation, like the previous and next and things like that. So if you can see now, this is the way that WordPress actually maps the data inside it, you know. So yeah, sorry about that. So just to make this a little easier, we're just going to put edges here and here, and then just tab it over one spot. All right, so that works just as well. And if you have any doubts, you're gonna copy that and then come over here and paste it here, prettify it, and it's here. We have pretty much everything. Just wait a minute, what happened? Edges, node. Okay, node, edges, node. There we go. Now we're working. So it's a good thing we tested. So it's not nodes, it's node. Edges, node. All right, so now that that's working, we got to correct some stuff in here. So we have that we're mapping through the old WordPress post edges. Edges, yep. And then we have to actually do this. We have to map through the edge. So copy that just to make sure that we're doing it correctly. And then we're going to go to the edge node and everything else. Yep. Oh, one thing that I forgot to tell you guys is you need a key for every multiplier like this. So we're gonna add that in there. So we're gonna have edge that node that ID. There you go. So that works. So we have to make sure that we use this edge node to our to the way that we're picking up our stuff. So this right here is going to be edge node. There you go. The classes doesn't matter. This is going to be edge node. Same. Same here. And everything is fine there. All right, let's give it one more save and run it again. Let's build in the modules. I mean, it should work. I don't see why the map function should fail. Okay, there we go. I knew it should work. All right, so here we go. So obviously, it's not the prettiest thing. We have to, work on getting our styles into place. But we're not gonna do all of that in one video, obviously. So all I wanted you guys to do is just to get this stuff working and see how you are able to bring back information now from your WordPress. You can see that you're bringing your image back. You see that you're bringing your title back. You're bringing your excerpt. You can see here that you're bringing actually HTML back. So I'm gonna show you in the next video how to actually work this out so you don't get HTML back. But if you click explore, you're not really gonna get anywhere because we have to work the slugs into this eventually, and we're also gonna get to that part in due time. Okay, so I will see you guys in the next one.